I also want us to have a conversation about our Super Eagles captain. I saw the podcast that he did with Ben Foster, and he made some interesting comments. He made some interesting comments. I don't know if all of you guys that are watching have watched or have listened to the podcast. So let me just give you the part that I specifically want us to talk about today. In the podcast with Ben Foster, William Troost-Ekong was just talking about his Super Eagles time and the AFCON, and he mentioned that in fact, he was close to retiring from the national team before the AFCON. He said that he had fallen out with Coach Jose Peseiro. He explained that there was the games that we had in June. He had not been invited to two previous camps before then, and then he was invited to this camp, but he had just given birth to his third child, and his wife had told him, "Babe, if possible, I would like you to be around during this break to spend time with me and the kids." And he wanted to oblige. He wanted to spend time with his wife. So he said he sent a message to the coach that, okay, well, previously he had asked the coach that is there an issue with him? The coach said nothing. But this time he now sent a message to the coach that, coach, my wife just had a baby. She wants me to be around. If you call me, of course, I would have to accept. But if you know you're not going to play me, please just leave me with my family. Coach Peseiro said, no, you're part of the squad. You have to come. He said he was called up 2 games on the bench for the 2 matches. So he was obviously mad. My family needs me. You don't allow me to stay with my family, and you don't even play me in these 2 matches. So he was mad. And he said he confronted the coach. The coach did not like the fact that he confronted him. And he said he wanted to announce his retirement before the AFCON. He said he did not want it to be like, oh, if they don't call him, because they did not call him for AFCON, is why he's now retiring. So he decided that he was going to retire before the AFCON. But they spoke to him, they told him to stay part of the team, and then he did. Interestingly enough, he said before the first game of the AFCON, the game that we played a 1-1 draw against Equatorial Guinea, he said the coach Peseiro came and told him, Willie, I'm going to play you today. Not because I think you're better than the others, but because I need experience on the team. And then from there, obviously, we drew that first game. He said he now thought, well, if we've got a bad result, I'm probably going to be the first change that the coach is going to make. But he was there for the second team. When we got the penalty, Osimhen asked him to take the penalty. He scored, and then we know how everything went from there. Ekong ends up being the player of the tournament. I found it very interesting. One, the fact that Jose Peseiro did that, I thought that was not a very nice thing. Again, these are why sometimes we say that we have to get some information from players, because you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And the fact that he was so close to retiring, who knows how things would have changed? Who knows how the course of destiny would have been different if William Troost-Ekong had retired from the national team? But Smith Layi, when you saw that, when you listened to what Ekong had to say, what are the thoughts that came to your mind?
Looking at I follow the sequence of events that actually what happened, but Pacero was the one playing the victim role, but he was now the aggressor now slightly, because I didn't know that Pacero could say something like that. I did not. When you see a coach that can say something, when you say Jose Mourinho, when you mention coaches like that,
You say
you will,
okay.
you will say, okay, can say. But Pacero doesn't look like someone who can say like that. But I think just trying to like look for a way to get rid of William Troost-Ekong. I don't think the plan materialized. I think if you are 6-0 up against Sao Tome and Principe, you are 6-0 up already. Come on. Just to honor your captain, you can just look for a way to ask him to play play parts in those games, in that game. So for me, I think it's just I felt somehow that they're looking for a way to get rid of him, but kudos that he didn't give up on himself, and and he did so well against Guinea. Guinea was the game we was talking about, that the pre AFCON friendly that we lost. Yeah. Actually, what he did so well. So for me to see that Pacero I'm really, really surprised about that. That means that there's some things that
I
he's
was
saying.
I was also surprised. Now you wonder what he would have said to somebody like Bruno that he did not give a single minute. You wonder what he would have said to him. You wonder what he would have said to other players. Someone like was it? There's somebody else that did not get many minutes. All them hours, yeah, and
Onyedika.
Onyedika. You wonder what he said to them. So this football business can be
Mm-hmm.
brutal sometimes, man. Coaches can be very, very harsh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I will say this:
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian fans, you guys, some of you that are watching, also contributed to this chase of William Troost-Ekong out of the national team because
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian fans also turned on Ekong. They turned on Ekong. And fans are very fickle, so I'm not surprised. But Nigerian fans turned on Ekong. They started slighting him for every small thing. But it was just very interesting to hear. You can check out the podcast on YouTube. It's like a 10-minute clip of him just talking about that particular moment. But
Mm-hmm.
I saw that and I was like, let's talk about it because I did not expect Jose Peseiro to be a coach that will say something like that. Hybrid 10 says it tells me that you can't see what's happening behind the scenes. That's the reality. As fans, as media, we critique players a lot. We talk about what's happening, but the reality of it is that a lot of the time there is more than meets the eye. Samuel says, Ayo told you that Pesero is just a decent coach, and AFCON was more of result of players effort. And now you are just now diverting it to a different place. Him saying that does not mean that the AFCON was not his good work. What do you mean? He's still the one that sets the team up. He's still the one that chose Ekong to play. He's still the one that got us to the final. So you're just trying to use that. That's a whole different conversation entirely. Again, I don't understand how Nigerian fans don't like to give this man credit for his good job. What he said to Ekong has nothing to do with his AFCON run. So Sammy, you are very, very wrong, and you're just trying to use this to push your I don't like Pesero agenda.